Okay. 1, 2, 3, 1. Sorry. Imitation just came over me. Yeah, we can start again.
3, 2, 1.
I hope you're doing very well. I'm so excited to take you through the second episode of Own Your Pleasure because today I'm really going to talk to me and to talk to you. And this is directly to the women. Remember, we said this year we are owning our pleasure, and I explained to you why. And I am willing to continue nourishing you. Speaking of nourishment. So I talk about a relationship phenomenon called breadcrumbing. I will not even go into the emotional breadcrumbing. I'm going to talk about sexual breadcrumbing. The title for this episode is called Own Your Body. Lady, own your body so that you can sense when you're being undernourished sexually. Own your body so that you can stop feeding off breadcrumbs. Own your body so that you can start eating the whole loaf. In my work, I get to deal with lots of women. The ones that make me happy, or rather sad and angry to the point of being happy, are the ones who are married and they are cheating on their husbands. So this is a scenario. She comes to me, she's so heartbroken, and she's being heartbroken by her lover. Her, what do you guys call them? I don't even have a term for them because I don't encourage it. So she's cheating with somebody. Are they called, what are they called? Manolo, what are they called? They're who? Mubabas, because some of them are Bentens, others are Mubabas. So recently a client comes to tell me that her husband, she's undernourished in her relationship sexually. So undernourished that her partner doesn't even want her to squat when he's making love to her. Like, he's such an abuser that she's settled for finding sexual satisfaction outside the marriage, and she won't leave the marriage. And I told her, first of all, for me, that's a bit that's toxic. That you're in a toxic relationship and you're looking for another toxic relationship. But let me bring you to my story. So she's dating somebody else, and now she's feeling so sad that this guy is not satisfying her as well. I sing a pattern. So this guy is not satisfying her as well. She's like, can you imagine? I still don't feel satisfied. He came around and it was for a short moment. I told her, dear girl, if you don't sit down and deal with your problems, with your anxious attachment, with your body, with your capacity to sit with pleasure, you're going to continue being undernourished. What is breadcrumbing? Breadcrumbing is a phenomenon. It's a toxic, manipulative phenomenon where a person gives you enough attention, or they call it servicing. Services you a bit to keep you hooked. Just not enough attention to keep you nourished. Hear it again. Breadcrumbing is toxic, manipulative relationship phenomenon where your partner or your boyfriend or your friend or anybody you're in a relationship with gives you just enough attention to keep you hooked, but not enough to keep you nourished. Now, the capacity for us to feel nourishment comes from us owning our bodies, taking care of our bodies, reducing the chaos in our bodies, the dysregulation in our bodies, the urgency in our bodies, the fear of not being chosen, the fear that you'll be rejected, the fear that living a toxic relationship will be too painful. We need to be able to build body resilience. Lately, we are saying enough regulation in our bodies so that we can be able to feel, how much joy. We can feel enough joy in our bodies, enough pleasure in our bodies, so that we can be able to call in relationships that give us just as much as that or not. Right? So, I asked this lady, so you're cheating on your partner, arguably thinking you're going to be able to get the sexual satisfaction that you're getting. You won't. You just keep getting the same breadcrumbing from one relationship to another until you deal with what you're running away from, until you learn to nourish yourself, until you go back inside your body and use that time that you're using to cheat to take care of yourself. Because most women are walking around with a self-love deficit. They don't have enough time to love on themselves, feel. They are so numb that they can't even feel the joy. If they are doing anything on the outside, it's for external validation. It's never for internal satisfaction. Therefore, they're not able to even sense when they're being breadcrumbed. They're not able to sense when they're getting abused. And most of them are love bombed. Most of them are in relationships where it's a trauma bond. They are bonded to this person for the highs and lows, for the chaos, for the drama. You know, the chaos is in the body. The hormones or the hormonal chaos is one moment he buys her something very nice. That is the husband, something very nice, and puts her on a high. You know, and then she brags about it. He did this for me. And another moment he beats her and abuses her and calls her names and produces enough cortisol inside her body, you know, so there's dopamine and oxytocin moments, and then there's cortisol highs. You know, the highs and the lows create a hormonal chaos on the inside that most women do not know, cannot allow them to experience sexual pleasure. Whether they leave one guy, go to another. There's so much chaos on the inside that there's no space for the hormones of pleasure, the hormones of sex. There's not enough space for dopamine, for serotonin, for oxytocin. You know, there's not enough space for that. There's more space for adrenaline, there's not enough space for stress hormones, but not enough for the pleasure hormones. So I say, for you to be able to reduce the capacity to be breadcrumbed, to begin with, you have to be a safe place to receive pleasure. You have to build the capacity in your body to receive a man, to be vulnerable, to surrender to pleasure. And we can't just talk about it. Most of you come to me thinking, my God, I'm going to give you a formula. This is how to be vulnerable. This is how to surrender. This is how to seduce and keep. You can only magnetize and keep if you build enough capacity in your body. So this year, gift yourself body knowledge, body wisdom, build enough regulation in the body. We cannot talk about nervous system healing by just creating awareness. We have to heal the parts in our bodies where we keep going into dysregulation, build what I call the vagotone. The vagus nerve is a nerve that picks messages from the body, gives them to the brain, and then creates a story, you know, of whether I'm happy or I'm not happy. So we need to build a vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. So when it's strong, it's able to not break, you know, too fast from pleasure. So you don't just run from one pleasurable moment to another too fast. So you have too many partners. You want to run from one pleasurable moment to another, but none of them is giving you enough nourishment. So yours is to say, you know, if it doesn't make me feel good, I can get another and another and another. The truth is, girl, you are not getting nourished, even from your toy. It's a casual encounter with your toy. Because if your body doesn't have the capacity to sit with pleasure, if your vagus nerve is too thin, it breaks you away from pleasure too fast. Thicken it, strengthen it, so that it can allow you to can sustain bodily sensation of pleasure before it hijacks you into survival hormones, or rather survival mechanisms or survival skills. You know, your vagus nerve, or rather your nervous system, takes you so fast into flight mode, into fleeing, or it makes you freeze, especially if you're a perfectionist. Your nervous system just makes you freeze, that you're not even able to experience somebody fully, that your orgasms are one at a time. You know, you orgasm only once at a time. Now, the reason why I think it's important that you own your body, to own your pleasure, is because of what I'm going to talk to you about: experiencing multiple orgasms. Again, we can't just talk about it. Let the body talk about it. What's the story your body is saying about orgasms? I don't want to hear it this year when women say it is just some women who can have multiple orgasms. It's just some women who can squirt. All of us, were created with that divine gift to experience feminine sexual pleasure. It is a divine gift. It's not outsourced. It's not given by a certain school. Doesn't matter if you went to Harvard, your orgasmic potential doesn't expand based on how many degrees you have. It is as big as your humanness, right? But the multiple orgasms are only experienced by a body that is sensual. To be sensual is to have the capacity to sense at all the sensational levels, to hear well, to be able to speak well to self, to see good, in yourself and in others, to be able to smell, to not smell and then smell dysregulates you. To be able to smell, and smell is able to regulate you, but mostly to be able to sense your intuition and get embodied, to have interoception. Interoception is an eighth sense, the capacity to sense pleasure from the inside, the capacity to sense when you're getting triggered into anger, when you're getting triggered into desire, the capacity to sense when you're getting satiety, sexual satisfaction or pleasure, because we talk about pleasure as waves that just, keep hitting the shore and going back, as opposed to looking at pleasure as a one-way, street where, he penetrates and then you orgasm and that's it. No, your capacity to experience all these, like hits, I look at pleasure as waves hitting the shore and then going back and then forming into another wave and then building up. So at some moment you have a shortened wave, a strong wave, and then a huge wave that comes to the shore and then comes again and again. You're supposed to be in that flow, in the experience of those waves of pleasure. But if your introspective skills or introspective sense is numb, you will experience probably one small wave that comes, okay. It won't be the shh. I went to Malindi during Christmas time, and the hotel we're staying at, so our beach line really didn't have the strong waves. And my son was ready to just go and play with the waves. He likes to play with the waves, and there were no waves. And it was so sad to just see a few of them. And I'm thinking, just imagine some women just experience orgasms like that, like, whew. Just like that. And then I'm thinking of the waves that we get to see when we go to Diani. The waves are like, oh, it swallows you up, and then you can't see the child, and then, oh my God, the child comes out when he's screaming, and that's how it's supposed to be like your orgasm is supposed to wash you out, and then, you can't see yourself, and then you come out like a child screaming out of a wave, a scary but beautiful wave hitting the shore, right? But the capacity to be able to experience that is how safe you're able to feel in your body. Now, many times this year, I've seen on social media women saying, for me, these days I have boundaries. If a man doesn't make me feel safe, if he's not safe for my nervous system, pass. Hey, are you safe for your own nervous system? Pass. A man can come around when he's good. So many anxiously attached women have met secure men. Calm, collected, he sees the good in her. But then if your body is under dysregulation, you're constantly going to be hypervigilant. You're looking out, why is he looking at that? Is he looking at my toes? Are my thighs good enough? Are my eyes big enough? Is my hair long enough? Hypervigilance is just reading emotion, like just mind reading and wondering if the person is seeing good in you. Yeah. And you're going to, if your body is not safe, if the hormones inside are not balanced, they're going to create a lot of dysregulation that internally you're going to be catastrophizing. You're going for a date, he's coming to pick you up, and for you, you're just busy pulling the dress, organizing your boobs, you're just basically looking for validation every second. And or if you thought about, if he texted you and told you, babe, I want to take you for dinner this Friday because I want to hang out with you, and your fantasy about the dinner is in 30 seconds marred by, what if he's lying to me and he's doing that with somebody else? What if he's making me feel so good, but then he did that for two other ladies? You're in dysregulation and you can't be a safe place for pleasure. you wouldn't receive his love. You wouldn't receive his safety. So before we can demand for men that make us feel safe, we need to be able to create safety in our bodies so that even us, we go around to receive good, to see good. You know that verse that says, see no evil, hear no evil, say no evil. Yeah, your body cannot be that when it is seeing evil on the inside, feeling evil on the inside, and being evil on the inside. You can't receive anything different. So what are the things that you can do? Many of them, if you join my hormone reset program, that's the goal. When I started the hormone reset program, there were 3 reasons. One, that women do not understand their hormones and their impact on their sexuality. We produce progesterone, testosterone, estrogen, sex hormones, and if they're not balanced, really your libido levels are low, your capacity to desire is low, your desire is too responsive to the fact that you only want sex once, once a week, right? So that was one of the reasons. But the other was for us to reduce on the stress hormones in the body. For years and years, we've lived under survival. We're just surviving this life. Each time they're not thriving. For as long as you're not thriving, you're producing more stress hormones, and a build-up of those stress hormones are just keeping your nervous system dysregulated. So own your pleasure, own your body, step into it, start to feel, join our programs, so you can be able to build more capacity to feel. All right, so look forward to episode 3 on the things that you can do this year to own your pleasure. I hope you enjoyed that one. And if you did, share it with your friends. Don't keep it to yourself, right? And as well, subscribe. We need to grow this community more. We need to engage with each other. Leave a like, share with your friends, subscribe, talk to me, join our programs. There's so much more that awaits you, plenty more where that came from. My name is Doreen Nyiramugisha. I love holistic sexology. I don't think our sexuality is just one directional. It relies on these other aspects of sexuality, our culture, our history, what we eat on a daily basis, the way we sleep, the way we look at money or how we make it, our emotional states. It's really dependent on them as well. So even as we plan our wellness this year, let's not forget sexual wellness.